And from ASC's vision of the future, let's look at something that's more of a blast from the past. We may be in on the birth of a classic here, at least a car that looks like one. This is the Panther Kalista, a rebirth of the unforgettable British roadsters that added sports to the car world in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. It comes from a small but determined British coach builder, but it had some help from a few other players along the way. The basic statistics of the Panther Kalista are ever so boring when compared to its bezel headlights and butterfly open fender bodywork. Wondering about its 100.5-inch wheelbase or routine front-engine rear-drive layout doesn't do justice to the spirit of its rear-mounted spare or the other bits of Morgans, MGs, and Allards that have contributed to the Kalista's styling and charm. Indeed, even the entire Kalista had a prior life as the GM Vauxhall-powered Panther Lima. But that effort failed, and with it, the Panther Car Company of Byfleet, Surrey. Located on the site of the old Brooklands racing circuit, Panther is best known for its outrageous car conversions for those whom money is no object, and huge ornate replica cars for the same clientele. The Lima was to be a classic for the masses. But when the firm stumbled due to the lack of cash in 1980, help came from a young and unlikely source more than half a world away. His name is Young C. Kim, a Korean industrialist with a passion for cars. He revamped the Lima into the Kalista and made Panther the thriving firm it is today. Kim knew that high labor costs kill the old Panther, so much of the handwork on the Kalista is done in South Korea. The aluminum and steel body panels are formed there and shipped to England. Then they are mated to a box section steel frame, painted, and all other mechanical parts purchased off the shelf from larger car firms are added. The result is a car that looks like history but has the reliability to run forever. Well, that's what a lot of folks say about Ford Motor Company's Lima, Ohio 2.3-liter overhead cam four-cylinder. Yes, Panther has come to America with Pinto power, 88 horses and all, and it's a good fit. With only 2,300 pounds to pull, performance from a standing start is good. 500 feet in 10 seconds at 50 miles per hour. But true to the English roadster heritage, the Panther runs out of steam early on, and it took a long 17 seconds to make it up to 60. With suspension bits that include coil springs on gas shocks up front, and a live axle on coils in the rear, the Kalista can easily outhandle all of its predecessor types. Our overall handling impression is it's neutral at moderate speeds and boldly goes where its long nose is pointed. You see, putting the Kalista through its paces calls for a new perspective. Since you sit almost over the rear wheels, you learn to take a corner sooner than your senses tell you to. As you turn, you see the protruding engine bay of the Panther past the pylons more than a heartbeat before your mind. It's different, but a real kick. Even more enjoyable is the highway ride of the Kalista. If you've ever been in an MGTC for more than 15 minutes, you know what a motorized buckboard must be like. The Kalista rides firm but smooth, with hard bumps causing few of the rattles so common on even the most modern of convertibles. The only performance aspect that didn't measure up to our tempered expectations were the Kalista's brakes. While the pedal was a bit mushy, the power-assisted disc drum system produced very long stops of 160 feet on average from 55. A Panther official who brought the car to us felt the system wasn't working right, and he was correct, since later we found the parking brake would sometimes jam and it had scored the left rear drum. But we think the biggest problem here might be the rather hard compound and small 13-inch tires. Bigger, stickier ones would also fill up the wheel wells better. Inside the Kalista, all your dreams of true open-air touring can be realized, but again without most of the aches of the past. If you wear a pair of running shoes, entrance into the Kalista is painless, with enough leg room for 6-footers. Controls are pretty well placed and don't look tacked on. There is a proper size, thick grip, leather-covered steering wheel. But the dash is decked out in genuine burled walnut, and there are simple and direct white-on-black gauges. How British looking can you get? Although, for Americans, you can get a top-level stereo, air conditioning, and even a 3-speed automatic transmission. But take heart, a 4-speed manual is standard. The top for the Kalista is a nice piece of work too, and goes up or down with a minimum of fuss. The backlight is of the flexible zip-out variety. Indeed, overall quality of the Kalista is high for its $23,000 base price. The fenders are flawless in form and have fiberglass inner fenders to reduce stone chipping. The paint is deep, and it's the same polyurethane enamel that Mercedes-Benz uses, and in the same colors, or any other color you would like. And although it is new to America, the Panther was designed from the start to meet U.S. safety standards, and little more than a different lighting array was needed for certification. And we're told it crash tested quite well too. But as much fun as the Kalista is to look at, to drive it with the top down conjures up fantasies of open cockpit flyboys, a daring breed that no doubt only drove period British roadsters when on the ground. No doubt. The Panther is now sold in over 50 countries, and if successful here, next year it will probably get optional V6 power and be joined by another Young Kim Panther project, the very futuristic looking Solo. But right now, we'd rather go solo in the Kalista. And while it's true that the Panther Kalista is something of a toy, it's well made and not terribly overpriced. It's also guaranteed to make those with a long history feel young again, or give the young a little piece of history of their own.